Good evening and welcome to the YouTube channel, How to Get an 800 Credit Score. Thank you all for joining. Today we have a very special topic. We're pretty much touching up on what's going on right now as far as our second stimulus check. If you missed the last video where we talked about what to do if you haven't received your first stimulus check, go ahead and check that out. I'll put a link to that up there. But today we're talking about the GOP's second stimulus check, 40K income limit. And basically what they're talking about here, I found expressed very well detailed out in an article coming from Boston.com or B News, they call it. In Washington, the White House and congressional Republicans are exploring whether to restrict the number of Americans that's receiving the next round of stimulus payments. So as these conservative lawmakers, they're going to face a lot of internal pressure from the Republicans to limit the size of the next relief package. So make sure that you watch this video all the way to the end, so that way you'll receive a special bonus for you at the end. Okay, so make sure you watch this video all the way through to the end. Now, in March, Congress had approved the $1,200 stimulus payments. That's the first check, and it's sent out to as many as 159 million households. The size of the benefit diminished or disappeared entirely for those people who earned more than $75,000 in 2019. So Congress is talking about the next stimulus package here. The Republicans and the White House administration, they're considering proposals to drop that number below $75,000. And this is according to 4 people that's aware of internal discussions who spoke on the condition of anonymity. So they don't want their names to be revealed, to discuss private deliberations. The exact number that they will seek is kind of like unclear right now. But one person had cautioned that Republicans may ultimately revive the original proposal, that is in the HEROES Act, that is, because of the difficulty that the administrative challenges had created by trying to narrowly target the check. So basically, it's going to be very difficult for them, the administration, to target these checks. So they may want to that might even force them to consider the first proposal from the HEROES Act. So 2 events happened this week, okay? Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, the Republican from Kentucky, as you know, Senate is on recess until July 20th of this month. So during this time, the senators go back to their states and the communities and speak with their constituents. At least that's what they're supposed to do, not take vacations, okay? So Mitch McConnell said that the payments should be sent out basically to help those people who earn less than $40,000. But it wasn't clear whether he was suggesting that that would be the next cap. So he did not say that that will be the income cap limit, okay? Now, an aide to McConnell, he did not want to even comment. But several Republicans in the Senate, they are against sending out another round of stimulus checks altogether, okay? Senator Tom Tillis, a Republican in North Carolina, he said that they would support sending out another round of stimulus check if they can target it for the people who are hurting the most. Now, I really don't, disagree with that, targeting the people that are hurting the most. But what about the middle class? Okay, the middle class, in my opinion, they have suffered tremendously. Okay, the moratoriums on evictions and foreclosures are expiring the end of this month. So now another stimulus check would be something that these people can rely on to keep them afloat, to keep them out of homelessness. But let's move on to what the article is saying again. Now, McConnell continues to say, the people that I think have been hardly hit the hardest during this whole episode has been people making $40,000 a year or less, which is true. Many of them work in the hospitality business, hotels, restaurants, but we're going to be acutely aware of that particular segment of our population going into this next package that we'll be putting together in the next few weeks. Now, McConnell had said this on Wednesday when he went back to Winchester, Kentucky to talk with his constituents. McConnell, he added on again, these folks who've been in the hospitality field, who've been hit so hard, I think those direct checks were particularly significant for them, which is true. You know, the people who are making less than $40,000 a year, a $1,200 check is a big thing. You know, it can be a big thing for them. You know, even though most of the people who receive that check and go out and spend it will spend it like almost right away as soon as they get it. The move to limit the scope of the next stimulus payments, it comes as Republican leadership seeks to balance pressure from conservatives. So they're getting pressure from conservatives, and the conservative Republicans are trying to limit the amount of spending. Okay, they're trying to shrink the cost of the package down to $1 trillion, basically. A lot of conservatives in Congress and the White House, they keep saying that they spent too much taxpayer money fighting the virus. Congressmen, they've already thrown more than $3 trillion, that is, dollars at the pandemic response. A top aide to Vice President Pence told Bloomberg News that the administration is aiming to limit spending on the package to $1 trillion. Okay, and that's similar to what Mitch McConnell wants. Isn't it kind of funny, people, that Mitch McConnell's wife got hundreds of thousands of dollars for her business through the PPP loan? Kanye West got millions of dollars for his business too, also as well, through the PPP loan. And check this out, even Tom Brady, okay? Tom Brady got millions of dollars from the PPP loan. Okay, what I'm saying is that multimillionaires are benefiting and being bailed out during this pandemic. So if you want to spend billions of dollars or trillions of dollars on millionaires or helping millionaires and bail out the billionaires, why not spend the same amount and bail out the American people, right? And stop trying to restrict the spending. Stop trying to be cheap when it comes to your own people. Okay? I don't think that's going to be very popular in the election in November. And I don't think that will help them in the election in November either. Asked about a potential $40,000 income cutoff for the checks on Thursday, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin declined to comment on the specifics on ongoing negotiations with congressmen. Okay, but Mnuchin, he confirmed that GOP lawmakers are trying to figure out how to structure this thing. Okay, the next round of stimulus payments. Mnuchin told CNBC, we can get that into hardworking Americans' bank accounts very quickly. The level and the criteria we'll be discussing with the Senate. So basically, like I said, the Republicans in the Senate, they want to keep the cost of the next stimulus bill less than $1 trillion. Okay. But congressional aides from both parties, they say that this can be very difficult. And it's been proven to be very difficult. But President Trump, as you guys already heard before, he mentioned that he wants the package to cost $2 trillion. Peter Navarro reiterated that only a few weeks ago. And the House Democrats, they approved the HEROES Act. Of course, we all know about that on May 15th. It costs more than $3 trillion. So you have the House Democrats want $3 trillion. President Donald Trump wants $2 trillion. And Mitch McConnell and a lot of the conservative Republicans in the Senate want $1 trillion. Okay. So restricting the extent of the aid could prove unpopular. Like I said before, and the article is reiterating this too also as well, during a national emergency. Yes. Because you know why? Because people are going to remember this in November. They're going to say, whoa, wow, these Republicans, they're being so cheap with the help. And this is a pandemic. This is a national emergency. Come on. They didn't, hold back funds when it came to spending trillions of dollars on the Iraq war, did they? No, they didn't. So why hold back now and be cheap when it comes to helping out Americans and the middle class? Okay. Limiting the next round of stimulus checks to those earning less than $40,000, it would save these lawmakers about $200 billion compared with the first round of checks. According to Ernie Tedici, who served as an economist in the Obama administration, it would but check this out. It would also mean that 20 million people would not receive these stimulus checks, and they come from the middle class too also as well. Now, 20 million people, that is a lot of people. And that would be a shame to have that many people miss out on the second round of stimulus checks when a lot of them desperately need that. The plan to scale back the benefit poses another challenge because the Treasury Department, they base eligibility for the checks off of the 2019 income tax statements. So people who earned less than $40,000 last year, but say they had their incomes drop dramatically or even the income disappeared since then, they wouldn't receive a stimulus check despite their suffering. So if the new threshold is adopted, it would hurt so many people. At least 4 million private sector workers have seen pay cuts during the pandemic. And this is according to a previous Washington Post analysis. Many of them are likely to slip below the income threshold. Unemployment rate jumped to nearly 15% in April, up from 3.5% in February. In June, it was 11%. According to the Department of Labor reports, that is, but some of them can be very erroneous too also as well. But one Republican tax expert who spoke on a condition of anonymity, this is another one who want to remain anonymous, discussing the private deliberations. He predicted that the GOP would probably back off of plans to curb these payments because of the administrative hurdles in effectively targeting the funding. So basically, it could be a huge problem for the administration to try to even target this thing. It would be a mess. It would be so complicated. It will probably cause more harm than good. The GOP would also face political pressure not to curb stimulus payments during an election year from middle-class households. So you have the political pressure on one hand, and then you have the administrative hurdles, complications, difficulties. To the extent that they make it a lower income cutoff than the last time, it would hurt more people, according to, now this is Dorothy Brown that said this, and she's a tax expert and a professor at Emory University School of Law. She noted that many Americans will face the lifting of eviction moratoriums. This will have drastic human consequences. Republican lawmakers, they've been divided on whether to send out another round of stimulus checks at all. That's true. Some of them are in favor of it. Some of them are against it and have spoken out against it too also as well. Trump, Mnuchin, and some Senate Republicans expressed support for another round, believing they offer both political and economic upside. And I agree with them too also as well. It can help Donald Trump in the elections. Because right now, Donald Trump is losing in almost every poll that's out there right now. And with the Supreme Court that has changed the rules concerning the Electoral College, that could just put another nail in Donald Trump's coffin in November. So another round of stimulus checks, a bigger stimulus checks, may help Donald Trump polls go back up. I mean, who knows, right? Some senior White House officials remain skeptical and believe many Americans will simply pocket the money rather than spend it in the economy, a view shared by some economists. Yes, because, we're facing a pandemic. We're going through a pandemic right now, and something that looks like a recession. And a lot of people like to save their money during a recession. But lots of people spend money too, during a recession too also as well. And actually, consumer spending is 70% of our nation's GDP. So that represents are roughly around 75% of our economy. Senator Mike Rounds, that's my senator from South Dakota, and Mitt Romney from Utah, they are against the idea, okay, against that idea completely. The lower income threshold could represent a compromise between camps. It would require Democrat support, however, okay? They would have to negotiate, because if the Senate Republicans and Senate Democrats make up a new bill, then it would have to go down to the House and be dealt with by Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, and all of the House Democrats and House Republicans would have to agree on a final draft of the bill before it can go off to President Donald Trump's desk to be signed, and then after that, pass into law, right? Nancy Pelosi, they passed the HEROES Act. They approved another round of $1,200 stimulus checks. We already know this, as well as $1,200 per child, which is more than what the CARES Act offers, only $500 per child. And some Democrats in the House also had proposed $2,000 a month until the pandemic is over with. And also some Democrats in the Senate too, also as well. But the leading Democrats are focused on pushing for, they're basically focused on pushing for the extension of the $600 a week pandemic unemployment insurance benefit, right? That was improved by Congress through the passing of the CARES Act back in March, but that's going to expire at the end of this month. Now, another person named Jared Bernstein, he was Joe Biden's advisor, and he said that he would support cutting the threshold from $75,000 a year to $60,000 a year. And that $60,000 a year is around the national median income. So it would pretty much hit more households, okay, and be available to more people too also as well. Bernstein went on to say that what's essential is getting that sort of help out the door quickly. But I would be careful not to set the bar too low. And, you know, I kind of agree with Bernstein because if you set the bar too low and you make it less than $40,000, what's going to happen is many Americans are going to be left out, okay? Not only people that are earning less than $40,000 a year are facing evictions and foreclosures on their house or homes, but also middle class households are facing evictions and foreclosures on their homes too also as well. So it's a huge population, like the article has said, 20 million people will be left out and will not get another stimulus check. So out of those 20 million people, right, unemployment is ending at the end of this month, right? And what about the people that don't qualify for unemployment? Okay, what are they going to do, right? What about those people? So, and if they're facing eviction, then basically a lot of them, what's happening to them is that the landlords have already started filing the eviction paperwork in the courts. Now, because of the passing of the CARES Act, the courts have held up. Basically, they have postponed or delayed the eviction procedures on those tenants. But the eviction cases are still there in the court, okay? So what's going to happen is that when the eviction moratoriums and the foreclosure moratoriums expire at the end of this month, the courts are then going to proceed and start the evictions. And these people are going to get evicted. They're going to get kicked out of their homes. They're going to have to check into a homeless shelter or go live with a friend or a family or go live on the streets. Okay, so that's the reality that we're facing here. So what the article is basically saying is that it would be a political disadvantage to President Trump and the Republicans in the Senate for them to make the cap at $40,000 a year, okay, because they're leaving out 20 million people from the middle class, okay? So it would be a disadvantageous politically, and also it would hurt the economy too also as well, because you would have less people spending money, okay? And spending money is what stimulates the economy and provides jobs and creates job opportunities too also as well, because if people don't spend money in these businesses, then these businesses lose customers, then these businesses are forced to lay off workers, or some of them are forced to even close down. Okay, so instead of continuing to send off billions and trillions of dollars to big businesses and corporations and people like Tom Brady, who's a multimillionaire, or Kanye West, okay, or even Senator Mitch McConnell, who is a multimillionaire also as well, why not spend that money on the middle class and also the people earning less than $40,000 a year? Okay, it's only fair. It's only right. The average people are tired of seeing all the money going to the millionaires and the billionaires. It's about time that the regular people get bailed out. Okay, average Americans get bailed out. So that's all I got for you people, and thank you so much for watching and making it this far with me. So what I'm going to do is pretty much give you the bonus here for you guys. This is Stimulus Check Update Group on Facebook, and we talk about everything concerning stimulus checks. We talk about the first stimulus check, and we talk about the second stimulus check and upcoming stimulus checks also as well. So make sure you join the Facebook group. The link is going to be inside of the description. And while you're in the description, make sure you take advantage of all the free money and helpful resources in the links that's also found in the description too also as well. So from all of us here at the How to Get an 800 Credit Score family, make sure that you subscribe below, give this video a thumbs up, and share this video on your social media also as well. And stay safe, be blessed, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now. My name is Lyndon Baptiste, and on this channel we talk about ways to increase your credit score, build credit, and get approved for the lowest payments on mortgages and lines of credit, travel the world for free, earn extra money with cash back. And if that interests you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. That way you'll never miss a single video as we make them.